Look at the faces around you. Behind the forced smiles and the curated feeds, there is a silent epidemic of misery. Most people are dead inside long before they are buried. They wake up dreading the day. They spend hours numbing themselves with distractions. They go to bed anxious about tomorrow. They have everything their grandparents dreamed of: technology, comfort, abundance. And yet they are profoundly unhappy. Why? Because they have built their lives on sand, on external validation, on pleasure-seeking, on illusions that collapse the moment reality touches them. The Stoics understood this 2,000 years ago. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus. They knew that unhappiness is not a lack of resources. It's a lack of character, a lack of mental sovereignty. And today, I'm going to tell you the 5 brutal reasons why most people are unhappy. Not comfortable reasons, not politically correct reasons. The truth. And the truth is this: most people are unhappy because they are weak, mentally enslaved. Operating from a broken philosophy they don't even realize they have. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why you're not at peace, and more importantly, what to do about it. But I'm warning you, this will destroy comfortable illusions. This will confront you with harsh reality. Most people will watch this and do nothing. They'll stay unhappy. They'll keep pretending. You're going to be different. If you are tired of pretending, if you are ready to face the brutal truth about why you are not at peace, I want you to comment, "I choose truth," right now. This is your first act of rebellion against a fake world. Subscribe to join the Forge. We don't do comfort here. We do strength. Comment, "I choose truth." Let's begin. Reason 1. Chasing the mirage. The first reason you're unhappy: you're chasing more. And more is a mirage that always stays the same distance away. More money, more followers, more status, more pleasure, more recognition. You think, when I get X, then I'll be happy. But you get X, and the happiness lasts about 3 days. Then you need more. This is called the Hedonic treadmill, and it's destroying you. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." You're poor, not financially, spiritually, because you've made happiness contingent on external acquisition. And external things can always be taken, lost, surpassed by someone else. Here's what happens. You make 6 figures. You feel successful for a week. Then you meet someone making 7 figures. Now you feel inadequate. You get 1,000 followers. You feel validated for a day. Then you see someone with 1,000,000. Now you feel invisible. You buy the car, the watch, the house. You feel accomplished briefly. Then you see someone with a better version. Now you feel behind. The goalpost keeps moving. Because the game is rigged. You're playing a game designed to keep you perpetually unsatisfied, perpetually chasing. And that chase is the opposite of happiness. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the Roman Empire, wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." He had everything: absolute power, unlimited wealth, and he knew it meant nothing. Because happiness isn't in acquisition, it's in sufficiency. The Stoics practiced something radical. They deliberately imagined losing everything, not to be depressed, to realize they didn't need it. Seneca would sleep on the floor, wear rags, eat plain food, to prove to himself, "I can be happy with nothing." When you know you can be happy with nothing, you're free, because nothing can be taken from you. But you've tied your happiness to things that can disappear tomorrow: a job, a relationship, a bank account, a social media following. And as long as your peace depends on externals, you'll never have peace, because externals are unstable, temporary, outside your control. Here's the protocol. Stop chasing more. Start defining enough. What is enough money? Enough status? Enough recognition? Write it down. Once you hit that number, stop. Practice sufficiency. Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Reduce your wants. Increase your sufficiency. That's the path out of the mirage. This is reason 1, chasing the mirage. You're unhappy because you've made happiness contingent on more, and more never arrives. Reason 2, the approval prison. The second reason you're unhappy. You're living for the eyes of others, and their approval is a prison you can never escape. You make decisions based on what they'll think. You dress for their validation. You post for their likes. You work for their respect. Your entire life is a performance, and the audience is everyone except you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "I have often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinion of himself than on the opinion of others. You love yourself, but you trust their judgment more than your own. That's slavery." Here's what this looks like. You choose a career you hate because it impresses people. You stay in relationships that drain you because leaving would look like failure. You buy things you can't afford to maintain an image. You're not living your life. You're performing theirs. And it's killing you. Because their standards are impossible to meet. What impresses them today bores them tomorrow. What they praise this week, they criticize next week. You're trying to hit a moving target while blindfolded. And even if you succeed, even if you get their approval, it's hollow. Because deep down, you know you're not living authentically. You're playing a character. Seneca wrote, "A consciousness of wrongdoing is the first step to salvation." You know you're betraying yourself, living for them, and that knowledge eats at you. That's why you're unhappy. Not because you lack external success, but because you've sold your internal sovereignty for external validation. And the price is misery. Epictetus taught, "If you wish to be a philosopher, prepare to be ridiculed and mocked." Translation, their approval is irrelevant. Your self-respect is everything. The Stoics didn't live for applause. They lived by principles, internal standards, self-generated values. And when you operate that way, you're free. Because no one can take your self-respect. Only you can give it away. But you've been giving it away, daily, to anyone with an opinion. Here's the protocol. Build an internal scoreboard. Define your own standards. Judge yourself by those standards. Every morning, who do I choose to be today? Every night, did I live up to my standards? Yes or no? That's the only judgment that matters. Not theirs, yours. When you reclaim that sovereignty, happiness becomes possible. Because you're no longer at the mercy of external opinion. You're operating from internal authority. This is reason 2, the approval prison. You're unhappy because you've outsourced your self-worth to people who don't care about you. Reason 3, fearing the storm. The third reason you're unhappy. You're trying to avoid pain. And that resistance to reality is the root of all your suffering. You think happiness means no problems, no pain, no difficulty. So you avoid hard conversations. You run from challenges. You numb yourself with distractions when discomfort appears. And that avoidance guarantees your misery. Because pain is inevitable. Life delivers pain to everyone. Loss, failure, rejection, death. You can't avoid it, but you can choose how you respond to it. The Stoics understood this perfectly. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The obstacle is not the enemy. Your resistance to the obstacle is. When you resist reality, you create suffering. When you accept reality, suffering dissolves." Here's the difference. Pain. I lost my job. That's a fact. That's pain. Unavoidable. Suffering. I lost my job and that means I'm a failure and my life is over and I'll never recover. That's a story. That's suffering. Optional. You create suffering by resisting what is, by demanding reality be different than it is. This shouldn't have happened. This isn't fair. Why me? All resistance. All suffering. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." The event is one thing. Your catastrophic interpretation is another. You lost your job. That's one moment of pain. But you've turned it into months of suffering by the story you're telling. The Stoics practiced something radical. Amor fati. Love of fate. Not tolerance, not acceptance. Love. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it." Your pain is fuel. Use it. Don't resist it. When you stop resisting pain, something remarkable happens. You become unbreakable. Because pain can't destroy you if you're not fighting it. You're just experiencing it, processing it, learning from it. But resistance? Resistance exhausts you, depletes you, keeps you in endless struggle. Here's the protocol. When pain arrives, stop resisting. Stop asking, why me? Instead, ask, what is this teaching me? How is this making me stronger? How do I use this? Accept what happened, then decide your response. Epictetus said, "Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do happen, and you will go on well." Wish for reality, not your fantasy of how things should be. That's the path out of suffering. This is reason 3, fearing the storm. You're unhappy because you're resisting pain instead of using it. Reason 4, internal poverty. The 4th reason you're unhappy. You have everything on the outside and nothing on the inside. You've built an impressive external life, career, possessions, image. But internally, you're empty, hollow, a beautiful mansion with no furniture, and that internal poverty is destroying you. Marcus Aurelius called the solution the inner citadel, a fortress of the mind that no external chaos can penetrate. Most people never build this. They spend their entire lives decorating the exterior while the interior remains barren. And then they wonder why success feels empty, why achievement brings no satisfaction, why accumulation brings no peace. Because you can't fill internal void with external things. It doesn't work. Seneca wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." You're not free because you have no internal foundation, no core principles, no philosophy, no examined life. You're just reacting, consuming, accumulating, drifting. Here's what this looks like. You achieve the goal, get the promotion, buy the thing, and you feel nothing, empty, already looking for the next thing. Why? Because there's no one home, no internal observer to appreciate the achievement, just a hungry ghost always needing more. You're externally rich and internally bankrupt. The Stoics spent their lives building the internal citadel, reading, reflecting, contemplating, developing character, practicing virtue, not to impress others, to fortify themselves. Marcus Aurelius was emperor of Rome. He could have spent every moment enjoying luxury. Instead, he studied philosophy, wrote journals, examined his character. He was building internally while managing externally. That's why he had peace despite the chaos of ruling an empire at war. You have peace during no chaos, because you have no internal fortress. Here's the protocol. Build the citadel. Daily, 30 minutes of reading philosophy, Stoics, classics, wisdom literature, 30 minutes of reflection, journaling, examining your character, 30 minutes of solitude, no input, just you and your thoughts, 90 minutes daily to build internally. Do this for a year, and you'll have an unshakable foundation. Then external chaos can't touch you. Because you're fortified within. Epictetus said, "No one can rob us of our free will." But you've robbed yourself by never developing it, never building the inner fortress. This is reason 4, internal poverty. You're unhappy because you're externally decorated and internally empty. Reason 5, slavery to impulse. The 5th and final reason you're unhappy. You act like an animal, controlled by impulse. And that's the opposite of human flourishing. You see something, you want it. You feel something, you react. You crave something, you pursue it. Stimulus response, like a trained dog. You have no gap between desire and action, no space for reason, no sovereign choice. You're a slave to impulse. And slaves are never happy. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But you haven't realized it. You think you're powerless against your impulses. I couldn't help it. I had to. I needed it. No, you chose it. And that choice made you weaker. Every time you obey an impulse without examination, you reinforce slavery. You see a notification, you check it. You feel angry, you lash out. You want comfort food, you eat it. Over and over, thousands of times daily, strengthening the chains. Seneca wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And you're not the master. Your impulses are. The Stoics practiced something they called the discipline of assent, the ability to pause between stimulus and response. Desire appears. You pause. You examine it. You choose whether to act on it. That pause is where freedom lives. Epictetus taught his students to treat every impression like this. Wait, let me examine who you are and what you represent. Not immediate action. Examination first, then choice. Here's what this looks like. Impulse. Check your phone. Pause. Why? What am I avoiding? What do I actually need right now? Choice. I will finish this task first. Then I will check deliberately. That's sovereignty. That's human dignity. That's the path to happiness. Because happiness isn't getting everything you want. It's wanting only what's good for you, and knowing the difference. Marcus Aurelius practiced this constantly. He had unlimited power. He could indulge every desire instantly. Instead, he examined each desire, acted only on what aligned with reason and virtue. That's why he had peace despite having everything. You have less than him and no peace, because you indulge every impulse without examination. Here's the protocol. Install the pause. Between every stimulus and response, insert 2 seconds. Desire appears. Count 1, 2. Then ask, is this aligned with who I choose to be? If yes, act. If no, abstain. Practice this 100 times daily. Every notification, every craving, every impulse. Over time, you'll develop sovereignty, the ability to choose your actions instead of being controlled by automatic reactions. And that sovereignty is the foundation of happiness. This is reason 5, slavery to impulse. You're unhappy because you're controlled by reactions instead of being guided by reason. The Stoic cure, Eudaimonia. Now you know the 5 reasons, chasing the mirage. The approval prison, fearing the storm. Internal poverty, slavery to impulse. All of them are forms of slavery, external dependency, weakness, and they guarantee unhappiness. But there is a cure. The Stoics called it Eudaimonia, often translated as happiness, but it means something deeper. It means human flourishing, living in accordance with virtue, operating from internal sovereignty. Eudaimonia is not something you find. It's something you forge. You forge it by building internal standards instead of chasing external validation, developing character instead of accumulating possessions, accepting reality instead of resisting it, fortifying your inner citadel through study and reflection, mastering your impulses through disciplined examination. This is not easy. This is not comfortable. This is not what the world teaches. The world teaches, buy more, impress others, avoid pain, indulge desires, stay distracted. And that path leads to the epidemic of misery you see around you. The Stoic path is different. It's harder. But it actually works. Marcus Aurelius found peace while ruling an empire at war. Epictetus found freedom while living as a slave. Seneca found joy while facing execution. Not because their circumstances were perfect, because their philosophy was unshakable. They built Eudaimonia from within, and external chaos couldn't touch it. You can do the same, starting today. Not by changing your circumstances, by changing your philosophy, your approach, your character. Happiness is not out there. It's in here, in the quality of your thoughts, the strength of your character, the sovereignty of your will. Build that, and you become unbreakable. The choice. The truth is out. Most people are unhappy because they're weak, externally dependent, philosophically bankrupt. You now know the 5 reasons, and you know the cure. Now, you have a choice. You can close this video and drift back into comfortable illusions. Keep chasing more. Keep seeking approval. Keep resisting reality. Keep staying empty. Keep obeying impulses. And stay unhappy. Or you can choose the Stoic path. The path of internal sovereignty, character development, philosophical fortification. It's harder. But it's the only path that actually leads to peace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Improve the quality, build the character, forge the citadel, and discover what the Stoics knew. Real happiness is not something the world gives you. It's something you build within yourself." Subscribe to Stoic Forge if you choose the second path. We're building the unbreakable here, the internally sovereign, the philosophically fortified. If that's you, you're home. And if it's not, good luck out there. You're going to need it. Good luck, seeker. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Marcus Aurelius. The truth has been spoken. What you do with it is your choice. Choose wisely.